In today's video, we're going to talk about the left leg. We're going to just focus on what it should be doing in the backswing because I see a lot of faults when I give lessons that people are trying to do certain things with their hips or just do certain weird things with their left leg. So we're going to focus on that today, what it should be doing in the backswing. I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can fix it. I'll give you some simple, really cheap tools that you can use to help you fix it, because if the left leg is doing the right thing, it really helps everything else kind of perform better. All right. I always try to get people's swings working correctly from the bottom up versus bottom down. Right. So we're going to try to focus on what the left leg should be doing because it should help the rest of your golf game improve. If you're brand new to our channel today, make sure you subscribe. If you hit the bell button, you'll see all our future videos that we have posting. We usually try to do them again every Tuesday and Friday. But right now is a busy season in Arizona, so I do the best that I possibly can. And if you enjoy our content, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, if this helped you improve your swing, if you have a noticeable change or any change at all, leave those comments down below. We like to see that you're improving by watching our videos today. So we're going to start with some of the faults that we come across first, and then we will do the second part of the video on some of the simple, cheap fixes that we can do to improve it. But first we need to understand what we're doing wrong. So one of the first faults that I see is when people swing to the top, they get that leg really lifting up. If you watch like old Bobby Jones videos and stuff like that, you would see them kind of lift that leg up really high like that, but they're also wearing jackets, so they couldn't turn, so they basically tried to do whatever they could to get themselves to turn while basically wearing a jacket or a suit. All right. When we lift that leg up like that, tends to cause our body to raise up. Right? You will see guys on tour like a Justin Thomas. I think Rory does it just a little bit. Ernie Els did it later on in his career. You'll see the lead heel lift up just barely off the ground because they use it more as a way to transition on the downswing. Okay, but we never see that lead leg really lift up and that front toe get off the ground, because I can understand what people are trying to do it because you feel like you can turn more, but it leads to lifting, it leads to swaying, and then it's really hard to plant it and get it back in the same position. Most of us don't do that. And so it just leads to all sorts of weird, funky things whenever that lead leg is moving too much. The next fault that I come into is the idea of trying to turn the hips. And so they post and they really get onto their front leg. And if you've seen my past videos, we want to maintain axis tilt. And if you really post on your front leg and you lean a lot, your spine's starting to go the wrong direction. Reverse tilt, lower back pain, misses right, left, all over the place. If we look at it from down the line, all right, you can see that front leg really juts out a lot, right? Yeah, I did not slide my hips, but everything else caused a bunch of errors in the golf swing because you were trying to turn the hips, and so that front leg bends a lot, and you get stuck on the front side, so then you tend to bounce backwards, stuck, reverse tilt, bounce backwards, and your ball striking is really going to struggle that way. So you need to pay attention to the flex in that left leg. Right now we're going to talk about what that lead leg needs to do, and then I'll show you some of those really simple things that you can do in your backyard. You can go to the golf course and do it, and we'll go from there. To correctly know what that lead leg needs to do, you need to know basically where the pressure goes in your feet. So if we're just talking tour player pressure, when you get to the top of that backswing, the weight's going to go into your right heel or right midfoot. Everybody kind of differs a little bit, right? It doesn't go onto the toes. And then as far as the front foot goes, you'll have just a little bit of weight towards your front foot. Okay, it's not on the toes pushing forward. It's just basically because this hip started to turn backwards, so this leg started to get some weight towards the toes. If we look at it from face on, all right, weight goes here. You can see how my front knee, it doesn't have to stay out there. I don't want to see it collapse in like that, because then you have to have a big weird move to make that happen. right? It's basically if you just let your hips turn naturally, this leg will roll in a little bit. It's not going to collapse in. It's a really hard thing to do. So if you feel it collapsing, that front foot might be rolling into the inside too much, right? So you just need to feel like it just basically is very passive when you take it back. So you take it back, weight goes correctly, weight does go into the toe, but let's say it's like 10, 15%, okay, not a whole lot, because you have to be able to transition in the downswing, and so you can watch some of those past videos on how you transition, right? But this is just about that left leg. Make sure that we got it moving correctly. Now, when you're turning and you're trying to be passive with that foot, make sure that it's not going to the toes, and you might feel like your left leg is doing the right thing, but if it goes to the toes, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to early extend. So that hip needs to feel like it goes backwards. This leg will come forwards just because my hips are turning, right? They're not sliding or swaying or anything. They're just turning. Okay, and so that left leg just very passively goes where it needs to. Okay, don't let it collapse in. Don't do anything funky with that lead leg. Make it very passive. All right, now I'm going to give you some fixes that you can do. Really cheap, really easy. Gives you a good feeling of what that lead leg should be doing, and it'll help you identify your faults. First tool you need is just a shoe box or any type of box that you can put in between your legs. All right, and if you're somebody who has a weird leg kick move, when you come back, you'll feel yourself kind of lean onto it, right? And it'll knock over, right? So this is kind of meant more towards those folks who really kick their leg in and lift their leg up, all right? And so it also works on the downswing, so you can feel stay away from it, and then on the downswing, as you move into the ball, you might need a little bit taller box, but you should feel your leg move into it. Maybe eventually through it, you can feel your heel move into it, but we're more concerned with what the lead leg is doing, so stay still. Misses it, it kicks in too much, you're going to knock it over. So that's the very simple thing that you can do with a shoebox. You can probably get one a little bit taller if you want to make it a little bit more advanced, or you can move it closer if you really just want to keep that leg in the same spot. You can still transfer your weight and everything. The lead leg just needs to do the right thing. The next tool, you can just go into Amazon and you're just going to buy basically a rubber band, or it's kind of like a workout hip band type thing. And that's very simple. They're only like $6 and you get like 5 of them, and they come in different different flexes, stuff like that. So this is what we're going to use for the next drill. So you just put the rubber band around your knees. I wouldn't do it too much lower or too much higher, just because you can kind of cheat it. Real quick things. This has made people hit the ball so much better that I've had to do this. So it is a good thing to do, no matter if you have a left leg problem or you just want to clean up your lower body. This is not about the left leg, but if you know that your knees kind of cave in like that, that is a weak position. So this encourages you to take your quads and just kind of turn out, and it just makes it stable. If you've ever done a squat, that's where your squat position could be, because that's a more stable position. So automatically, that is just a really quick tip that you can do to improve your lower body stability. So with your knees engaged out that way, right, you will very much notice it if you collapse in, because the tension goes. So when you swing to the top, you just kind of feel that tension. If you're working on kind of shifting, you can still feel like it kind of moves out a little bit if you want to do that. All right, so from down the line, no tension. You can really feel it because it pulls your leg in. So you have to kind of resist it. And it just helps you stay way more stable in your golf swing. So it's very simple. It's just a band, put in the right spot. Choose the tension that works best for you. And of course, if your stance is too narrow, it might be kind of hard. If your stance is too wide, it might be too, you might have to do that anyway. Okay, so just play with the stance width. Make it what's works best for you. Okay, so very simply, just make sure what your left leg is doing is not causing you to reverse tilt or cause you to lift up or sway, anything like that. Don't let this destroy your swing just because you're trying to do something that you didn't even know that you were doing. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button so you see our next video.